Hello, Judge Gideon, Mr. McNamara. I want to note a couple of things pretty shortly that kind of jumped out at me. One being that we've been here a number of times. We've been arrested a number of times. We come with an indictment accusing that military base of committing high crimes, crimes of breaking international law and extrajudicial killing. And I know you've heard this over and over, but it bears repeating because we are still being accused and brought into court and called, the police are called to come and arrest us by the people that we're accusing of committing the crimes. And I have not yet seen any move toward investigating or fleshing out our indictment. I don't know where to proceed from here. It reminds me of the statement that Martin Luther King made in the Beyond Vietnam speech. He was speaking of John Kennedy when he made the statement that when you make a nonviolent revolution impossible, you make violent revolution inevitable. This is John Kennedy that said that. And I'm just feeling frustration here. It seems to be there's an elephant in the room of, as my co-defendant just stated, the people are being prosecuted and persecuted by, and I'm not saying that these men are criminals, but they're executing a criminal policy, and it, for some reason, it seems that there's a fear or hesitancy to investigate these crimes that we're trying to call people's attention to. And in the interim, while all of this conversation is going on, people are dying. People are actually dying. This is no, I mean, the charges are minor. If we get convicted, we'll possibly go to jail for a couple of weeks. But the end result is that in reality, there's going to be people that will be killed in the interim while this is being worked out here. And this is it's just not acceptable. It's very confusing and it's very frustrating. My co-defendants laid out beautiful arguments, some of which it's difficult for me to understand when we start getting into the international law and why it's considered in some cases and why it's not considered in others. The political question, customary law, the trajectory of evolution, mens rea, Gestapo, all of these things, they can get very complicated. And I was, as Mr. Bergman had said, a little disappointed that Francis Boyle was not allowed to come and witness for us. I watched in the Hancock 38, Judge, when you and Ramsey Clark spoke. I saw you two speak, and even though you apparently understood each other, I could hear what you were saying, but I did not really ascertain what you were addressing. It was difficult. And the same way that I am completely convinced that there are illegal crimes taking place at that base, and I can follow a lot of the arguments, and they can get pretty technical and pretty complicated. I did not understand, as pro se defendants, we're not lawyers, and we jump out there to be pro se. That I understand, but to have an expert that can really foundationally explain what formed my intent to go to that base and to not allow him to testify. It raised questions to me, especially in the light of the way that this disorderly conduct or this the order of protection was issued, carte blanche with no apparent justification for it, at least as far as I can see. I know my fellow co-defendants. I know the pledges we take for nonviolence. When the police come and issue an illegal order for us to leave, we still leave. There's no we consider it illegal order. We consider it that they don't really understand that the Constitution informs us that we have a right and a duty to be there. And it can get a little murky, but we assume they're performing what they perceive as their duty, even though we have a different take on it. And we pretty much, leave without any problems to the police. And it just gets, it really gets frustrating for me. And Judge Gideon, there are lives being extinguished here, lives without any due process. There was a conversation that took place, as I recall, between Mr. McNamara and Brian Hines about whether these people that are being attacked or targeted were combatants or whether they were civilians. And some may be considered combatants, and I would contend that it's illegal even to target them. But some of them aren't. There are so many that aren't. There are wedding parties that take place, shopping, expeditions where people gather in groups. There was a grandmother that was, I believe, picking vegetables over in her garden, and she was blown up right in front of her grandchildren. And thank God that they were far enough away that they weren't injured. A drone, she was targeted by a drone that had hovered. She was observed. It was decided to, for some reason, that she was a viable target, and they executed her. This is just one of the long line of tragedies that have continued, and they will continue unabated until some judge somewhere decides that our indictment has some merit. And as I asked you in my testimony, if you did, if you were convinced, as we are absolutely certain from what I've read and informed people that I've spoken to, that there are crimes taking place at that base. Are we still going to be discussing where there's signs on the front of Hancock, or were we on this side of the line, or how many feet away from the base is it that we can come? These discussions, as I say, at times they can be very frustrating. There are lives at stake, and this is no small matter here. I mean, these are pretty small charges, but actually, it extends. What happens here is going to resonate, and there's people's lives involved. And I would finish this up by saying that the child in us wants life, but the elder in us usually wants order. Too much of one can be like unleashed, unsustainable chaos, and too much of the other can be some sort of draconian Orwellian type existence, and you have to find the middle road somewhere. But what takes precedence, a law or living? And both are important, but what is essential is life, because life without law can be chaotic, but from chaos sometimes you can get order, but law without life is nothing but words on paper. maybe well constructed, but they're meaningless if they don't promote life. And it takes me back to what Ramsey Clark said when he said there are decisions and there are difficult decisions, and when they weigh heavily on both sides, you know, to cut to the chase, you know, you think about what's best for the children. And I think it's pretty obvious what's best for the children. And I'm really going to end now with, we have, I've been in a lot of, thanks, Jimmy. This is my friend from Ithaca. I'd like to read a poem he wrote, if I could.
No, let him read. No.
Okay.
Let him read.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Is that all right?
This is your closing statement.
Okay, but he helps form my intent.
Yeah, but we're done with testimony.
Okay, fine, you can't do it. It's okay, Jimmy. It's okay. Well, first sure. Okay. We do not like drones. We do not like drones. They are killing things. They destroy the world with the bombs they bring. Do you know how many children you are killing in these wars? How would you like it? How would you like it if they did the same to us? Thank you, Jimmy. I've been involved in a lot of these actions with my co-defendants. I love them and trust them 100%. I believe that some of them may have been involved in the Underground Railroad, Your Honor. For the most part, we are a pretty slow-moving bunch. Okay, these orders of protection are really mind-boggling to me. We're a very slow-moving bunch, but glaciers were slow-moving also. And like the glaciers, after they left, everything had changed. Thank you.
Just we take like a 15 yeah, I got a question.
Okay, we're gonna take a brief recess, in case anybody else has to use the restroom. Please do it. Let's say,